Hello friends, welcome you all for today's class. Today we are going to discuss very important topic, that is Parliament under Indian polity. So today we are going to discuss few facts. The remaining classes we will update more things. Let us begin the introduction. See, the Parliament is the legislative organ of the Union government. It occupies a preeminent and central position in the Indian democratic political system due to adaptation of the parliamentary form of government. So here one has to note that the parliament covers from the article 79 to 122, and also remember this parliament present in part 5 of the constitution, and also this deals with the organization, composition, duration, officers, procedures, privileges, powers, and remaining things related to the parliament. See, today in this section, we are going to see about organization and composition. So let us see. See, this is the few related thing regarding with the Indian parliamentary system. I will explain you one by one. So kindly go through it and take note of it. See, this Indian parliamentary system is also known as Westminster model of government. So here one has to study Westminster model. That is, it was origin from the Westminster, and one has to note that this Indian parliamentary system has a president and executives and legislature. So one has to go through like this. So it has a president. Here one has to note that the president who is the head of a state. And what about executive? These executives comprises of prime minister and cabinet ministers and administrative missionaries. And with this, the prime minister is the head of the government, and one has to note that the president is the head of a state and prime minister is the head of the government. Also, this executive branch is called as a government. Let us see about legislature. This legislature and the executive branch is not separable from one another. Okay, here one has to note that the legislature is bicameral legislature. That is, Indian parliamentary system is a bicameral legislature. With bicameral legislature means it comprised of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. One has to note that here this Lok Sabha could also initiate no confidence against the government. Here the government is accountable to the Lok Sabha. So these are the few facts one has to remember related to the Indian parliamentary system. And see, under the constitution, the Parliament of India consists of three parts. Let us discuss about that also. One is president and council of states and house of the people. One has to note in 1954 the Hindi names, the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha. Here is the composition of the parliament. So here I have given you about Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. One has to note the president is also is the part of a parliament. Okay. So these Hindi names, Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, were adopted by the Council of States and House of People respectively, which means the Rajya Sabha is nothing but the upper house, and it is also called as chamber of houses of elders. And what about Lok Sabha? The Lok Sabha is nothing but lower house. Okay, it is also called as first chamber or popular house. Why it is popular house? See here, the former represents, that is the Council of State represents about Rajya Sabha. Here and union territories of Indian Union. While one has to note that the Lok Sabha, House of People, represents as a whole. So that is very important. So though one has to note here, the President of India is not a member of Parliament. That is, he is not a member of either House of the Parliament. Also, one has to note that the President do not sit in the Parliament to attend the meetings, but keep note that the President is also an integral part of the Parliament. Therefore, the Parliament consists of Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and President. See, this is because the bill passed by the both of the Parliament cannot become law without the President assent. And also note that President performs certain functions relating to the procedures of the Parliament. See, for example, summoning and procures both the houses, and also dissolves the Lok Sabha and addresses both the houses, and also the President can issue ordinance when they are not in session, and so on. So these are the important things one has to note down. And here in the Parliament form of government, see, emphasis of interdependent between legislative and executive organs. Here we have discussed legislative and executive. It is not separable from, which means they are interdependent between legislative and executive organs. Also, we have called it is as a president in Parliament, like crown in Parliament in Britain. Here, the presidential form of government on the other end lays on the separation of legislative and executive organs. But we are following the British parliamentary system, but the president form of government is followed by the American parliament. Okay, see, the American president is not regarded as the constituent part of the Congress. These are the things one has to remember. See, let us move on with the compositions of these houses. What are they? About Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. See, if you take Rajya Sabha, the maximum strength will be 250. The maximum strength would be 250, which means it not more than 250 members. And also, out of which 238 are to be the representatives of the state. Here one has to note this one also. Not more than 238 representatives of states and union territories, which means they are elected indirectly. Whereas these 12 people, remaining 12, are nominated by the president. See, at present, the Rajya Sabha has 245 members. So, out of which 229 members represents the state and 4 members represents the union territories and 12 members are nominated by the president. See, one has to note that the fourth schedule of the constitution deals with allocation of the seats in the Rajya Sabha to the states and union territories. See, if you take the representation of states in the Rajya Sabha are elected by the elected members of state legislative assemblies. That means MLAs. And the election is held in accordance with the system of proportional representation by means of single transferable vote. These and all very important points related to composition and representation of states. See, here the seats are allotted to the state in the Rajya Sabha on the basis of the population. Hence, the number of representatives varies from state to state. For example, if you take Uttar Pradesh and Tamil Nadu, etc., there varies. The Uttar Pradesh has 31 members, while Tamil Nadu has 18 members, like that. So these are the things one has to note the differences also. So what about the representations of union territories? See, right now, after Jammu and Kashmir, the state has been separated as the two union territories, that is Jammu and Kashmir as a one union territory and Ladakh as a another union territory. Therefore, at present India has 28 states 28 states and 8 union territories. Kindly note down. See, if you follow M. Lashmikant, it has been given as 29 states and 9 union territories. So that is wrong. After the amendment, right now 28 states and 8 union territories. Kindly note down that. And if you take representation of union territories, this representation of each union territory in the Rajya Sabha are indirectly elected by the members by electoral college, which means it's specifically constituted for this purpose. This election is also held in accordance with the system of single, which means the system of proportional representation by means of a single transferable vote. See, one has to know these things. And also the nominated members. See, let us see about nominated members. The president nominates 12 members to the Rajya Sabha from the people who are having the knowledge or practical experience of art, literature, science and social services. So these are the things one has to remember and take note of these points also. See, because the principle of nomination is to provide the eminent person as a place in the Rajya Sabha without going through the process of election. And also one has to note here that the American Senate has no nominated members, but Indian Parliament, that is Rajya Sabha, has the members, which means a nominated members. So this is about Rajya Sabha, that is Council of States. So let us see about Lok Sabha, that is House of People. See, if you take Lok Sabha, the maximum strength of Lok Sabha is fixed at 552. The maximum strength will be 552. See, out of this, 530 members are to be representatives of the states, and 20 members are to be representatives of the union territories, and 2 are to be nominated by the president from the Anglo-Indian community. One has to note that right now there was no nominated members for the Lok Sabha, that is there is no representation for Anglo-Indian community in the Lok Sabha in the further elections. So which means the president cannot nominate. It has been not extended right now. So kindly note down those things. It is current affairs things, very important. See, at present the Lok Sabha has 545 members. So here I have given that not more than 545 members. See, out of these 530 represents the state and 13 members represents the union territories and 2 Anglo-Indian members are nominated by the president. If you take representation of the state, the representatives of the state in the Lok Sabha are directly elected by the people from their territorial constituencies in the state. I hope you all aware of this. See, the election is based on the principles of universal adult franchise. This is very important. And also every Indian citizen, what do you mean by union, that is universal adult franchise? Every Indian citizen who is above 18 years of age and who is not disqualified under the provisions of the constitution or any law is eligible to vote at such an election. And also one has to note here that the voting age was reduced from 21 to 18 by the 61st Constitutional Amendment Act of 1988. See, what about representations of union territories in respect to Lok Sabha? Let us see. The Constitution has empowered, see, kindly note on word, the Constitution has empowered Parliament to prescribe the manner of choosing the representatives of union territories in the Lok Sabha, which means the Parliament has the sole authority. Accordingly, the Parliament has enacted the Union Territories, that is Direction Elections to the House of the People Act 1965, by which the members of the Lok Sabha from the Union Territories are also chosen by direct elections. See, what about nominated members? See, the president can nominate 2 members from the Anglo-Indian community if the community is not adequately represented in the Lok Sabha. See, originally this provision was operated till 1960 but as extended till 2020 by the 95th Amendment Act of 2009. But one has to note the current affairs things, it is important that recently it has not extended the provisions for the nominated members of Anglo-Indian community. So these are the things very important related to your exam perspective. See, this is the part 1. So with this we are winding this discussion. We will meet in the next class with the system of elections to the parliament, that is about Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and also we will see about Lok Sabha speaker and Rajya Sabha chairman, and also durations of 2 houses. So those are the things let us see in the next classes. With this we are winding this discussion. Thank you all. Meet you again. Have a good day.